what is up, everybody? Welcome back to the Mid-Level Media channel, your hub for everything physical media and entertainment. And I wanted to talk about Curse of Chucky on 4K today. So, of course, we're getting all of these new Chucky movies out on 4K from Scream Factory this week. We got Bride of Chucky, which I reviewed last week on the channel and did a full unboxing of all of them on the channel as well. I didn't know exactly how many of these I would choose to do like full standalone reviews for, but I watched Seed of Chucky. I did a short review for that, so go check it out in my shorts on my channel if you want to see my thoughts on it, quick thoughts on it. But I got done watching this movie and I was like, man, this was such a breath of fresh air. And I had seen Curse of Chucky before. I watched this all the way back in 2013 when it came out, but to be honest, I don't think I've seen it since. Maybe I've seen pieces of it since, but I don't think I've seen it in its entirety since. But it was such a breath of fresh air after watching Bride and Seed. And I'm not a hater of Bride and Seed. They're fun for what they are. But to get back to the basics in the Child's Play Chucky universe was just so freaking awesome. So I wanted to do a standalone review for this one and just talk about it a little bit. I doubt that I'll do a full review for Cult of Chucky. Maybe if I just have a profoundly different opinion of the film after I watch it, but I don't remember liking that one at all. I'll definitely give my thoughts on it though in short form for sure. But this is Curse of Chucky. I also got, the different artwork for it. I pre-ordered all of these from Scream Factory. Really wasn't a bad price to do that. They're all like 30 bucks on Amazon right now. So it'd be like 120 if I got them off of Amazon. So with the extra slips, it was like 30 bucks more to get all the posters. It felt worth it to me. So I went ahead and did it. And I have all the artwork for the first three. So I figured I'd do it for these last ones, why not? But Curse of Chucky, let's talk about this movie. This was written and directed by Don Mancini, which I really appreciate the fact that this is, I think maybe, other than maybe Phantasm, I think Don Cascarelli's involved in all those, but I think this is one of the only like mainline franchises where the same guy has been involved since the very beginning. Of course, Don Mancini, wrote the script for the first Child's Play. It was altered for sure, when Tom Holland came in, but this is really Don Mancini's brainchild, and he's been with the franchise since the beginning. He wrote and directed this movie. This was not his first directed Child's Play movie, though, or Chucky movie. That was Seed of Chucky, which showed the world what Don Mancini could do if he was a director of these movies. But Curse of Chucky, honestly, I love this movie. I really love this movie, but I also hate this movie because watching this and knowing that Don Mancini wrote and directed it, I'm just like, you could do so much with this franchise. You could restore it to its glory days, and you just choose not to. It's almost maddening when you think about it. So the movie kind of pisses me off when I watch it, even though I do love it, because you know what he's capable of as a director and a writer, and he just chooses to do ridiculous stuff 90% of the time. So, Don Mancini, please, I know you're doing the TV show now, but that's kind of gone into ridiculous territory. I'm seeing like buff Chuckies and stuff. It's fun, I get it. I watched the first season, it was fun for what it was. I didn't watch the second one, and from what I see of the third, it's more ridiculousness. So get back to the core of what made Chucky scary, and you'll get me back on board. So this is Curse of Chucky, though, 2013, 10 years ago. It's got Fiona Dorff in it, who is Brad Dourif's real-life daughter. So she plays the character of Nika in this film. And what I like about the movie is that it's in a confined location. It's almost like a haunted house type setting. You're in one location, and no doubt they did that because Seed of Chucky did not do well in the theaters and they had to scale things back. I'm pretty sure this was direct-to-video. But it's confined in one location. It's a spooky haunted house type movie, and you got your group of characters. They're all interesting characters. They're all compelling characters. And there's like this interpersonal turmoil and dynamic between all of them. The sisters, it's not that they don't like each other, but they kind of resent each other. One is paraplegic and the other one has kind of gone off to, have her own life with her husband and her kid. There's issues with her and her husband, the sister and her husband, and they have a babysitter involved, and that kind of goes into some unexpected directions with how that storyline plays out. And then you got the little girl in the movie who's a perfect little buddy for the Chucky doll, which brings Chucky again back to the basics. The little kid with the Chucky doll. That's so like part one and part two. But another thing I absolutely love about the film is it really takes it back beyond the second one, but to the basics, to the first one, because Chucky in this movie does not reveal himself until halfway through. And I'm sorry if you consider that a spoiler, but it takes it back to the first one, and it kind of gives you those first movie feelings where you're watching Chucky as a doll, as an inanimate doll throughout most of this film's runtime. And then, of course, he reveals himself like Chucky always does by the time you get, to the final act of the movie. But I love that. It gives me that old Child's Play movies. Is he alive? Is he not alive? You know he's alive because you've seen enough of these movies. You don't know when he's going to reveal himself. So all of these little moments with the characters and the doll, you're waiting for something to happen. You're on pins and needles. You're on the edge of your seat for something to happen. And then it doesn't. And it takes a while. And it builds that tension. This movie does a great job of doing that. It ups the creep factor in that haunted house. And to be honest, like, it's definitely the best one since the third one, in my opinion, but maybe it's the best one since the second. I don't know. I need to go back and rewatch the third one. I got a lot of nostalgia for the first three. I love those movies. But damn, I'm really high on this movie after watching it. Super awesome, super interesting. And I like how they expand on the lore of the franchise. They add more depth to the Charles Lee Ray character and how he's associated with this family. It goes into that backstory a little bit as well, because in the beginning, it's kind of confusing as to why this doll would have been delivered to this house and why did the mom die. And you don't exactly know what's going on, but as you progress throughout the movie, the layers of the story just keep on being peeled back, and you understand, you learn more as you go. So it's great storytelling. The tension is there. It's spooky. It's scary. Chucky's awesome in this film when he finally comes alive. Brad Dourif's still great voice performance. And yeah, I think this one, above all of the Child's Play movies, is probably the most underrated, because I think that people think cheap when they think of this movie because it was direct to video, and they don't see this one as being great. I've heard a lot of people say, I'm going to pick up Bride and skip the rest of them. Definitely check this one out, because I think it's better than Bride, Seed, and Cult, maybe all put together. And it's definitely if you're a fan of the first two in particular, it is a return to form for the franchise. It takes it back to the basics. Now, there are some kind of goofier moments sprinkled in throughout, but they're very few and far between. And most of that lies with the makeup effects and special effects work and stuff. And I'm not trying to, say anything bad about Tony Gardner. He did a good job in the movie, but some of the stuff is almost too outlandish and silly. The way that it looks when people are getting killed. That would be my main criticism with the film. Other than that, it's a damn near perfect Child's Play film to me. I love this movie. Now let's go ahead and talk about the 4K transfer here real quick. Now this is an upscaled 4K. It's a newer movie, so it was shot digitally back in 2013. So they upscaled it in 4K. I know some people have an issue with that. But it does have the Dolby Vision, has the HDR10. I thought it looked fantastic. I said it before these movies came out that if any of these movies are going to look great on 4K, it's probably this one, because I remember that very dark haunted house setting, and all that stuff looked fantastic because the house is so dark and they utilize a lot of dark colors throughout the film. So with those black levels turned all the way up, I just thought everything looked fantastic for sure. And it just added a level of depth. You could see a lot better. And the blood and the gore, all that stuff looked great with the HDR. Great facial detail. And I just thought everything looked fantastic with this. And again, it's an upscaled 4K. But much like Insidious, which came out on 4K, that was an upscaled as well. I felt it was in line with that. I thought it looked really good. I thought Scream Factory did a great job on this. And I think it's probably the best of the ones that I've seen so far out of the new Chucky 4K restorations. Brad looked really good. Seed looked really good for what they were. But those are also the kind of movies that their effects don't age the best. So I think that the 4K kind of takes away from those movies just a little bit, whereas this is way more practical with its effects. Like I said, they took it back to the basics with this film. So I thought this looked really awesome on 4K. Sound-wise, it's a 5.1 DTS Master Audio. Thought that everything sounded great. Again, it's a creepy haunted house setting. You hear all the creaks and the bangs and stuff all throughout the movie, everything echoing, and I thought it sounded wonderful on my sound system. Now I'm just listening to it on a soundbar that kind of simulates that 5.1. I've got a subwoofer as well. Everything sounded fantastic. And I also liked with this one, whereas Bride of Chucky had no special features, Seed actually had 2 new ones, but this one has 3 brand new special features and interviews. You got one with Tony Gardner. You got one with Fiona Dourif's character's sister in this film. I think Danielle Buscetti is her name, which she was great in the movie. Everybody is fantastic in this film, including Fiona Dourif, who just gives a great performance in the movie. I wish she would have been in a special feature on this, just kind of talking about it, because this was her first movie in the franchise. But you get the sister. She gives a great interview talking about the story and just how complex all the characters in the story actually is for this kind of silly, you know, killer doll movie, you know, which was cool. You got Alex Vincent, which talks about his return to the franchise with this movie, even though he doesn't show up until a post-credit scene, but he talks about kind of being asked to be back in the Child's Play movies and how happy he was for that. And yeah, like I said, Tony Gardner as well. So 3 great new special feature interviews that Scream Factory included in this. And getting into the packaging a little bit, you know, I really like the poster of this. I like the design. It's very simple. And yeah, Fiona Dorff's character in a wheelchair, which just adds for a lot of really tense, stressful scenes throughout the movie. I keep trying to sell this movie, guys, because I don't feel like you guys appreciate it enough and you need to watch it. But yeah, great cover on this one. And I'll show you the back right there. You got the synopsis, you got all the special features, all that good stuff. Again, I've done unboxings for all this. I'll show off my, you know, cool commissioned artwork as well that I think Devin Whitehead did. The artwork for all these. You got a cool image on the back. And yeah, just all around a great release, guys, from Scream Factory. And look, if you do not want to pick all these up, if you don't want to pay $150 on the Scream Factory website to get the bundle, you're just looking to get maybe 1 or 2 of these, I would recommend Curse above them all, even Bride. And I understand you want to get Bride, maybe you got nostalgia for it. Get Bride. And if you haven't seen any of the other ones, I would recommend getting Curse. This is $27.99. This is, I think, the cheapest of all of them. Cult might be $27, but I think the other ones were like $28.99, $29.99. If you are a fan of the old school Chucky movies, if you like Child's Play 1, 2, and 3, highly recommend Curse of Chucky. $27.99 to get this on 4K. And it's got 3 new special features, which is more than all of them at this point. So yeah, great release by Scream Factory. I love this movie. So thank you all so much for watching. Like, comment, subscribe, turn on the bell notifications for all future videos and reviews. And we'll see you next time.